Okay. Hey, got started a little early, at least compared to the clock, but late compared to usual. There's Sumi. You want to see her? This is Friday. Today is a mental health day. So that's what we're taking. You guys doing okay? I just saw a tweet from Lex Friedman, who's not feeling great. But, is that the human condition? Is that what it is? That is it always going to be like this? I guess that's what we ask ourselves. We didn't feel this way all the time. And then we think, oh, because we feel this way, the world is about to change. You think the stock market is about to crash? It set a new high today. Hey, Sumi, here, say hi to the people while you're on camera. There's Sumi. She's good. It's going to rain. It's going to rain today in California and then rain all weekend. We're sick of it, aren't we? Sick of the weather. You can't go on walks when it's raining outside. Well, you can, but you don't like it as much. You don't even like walks that much, do you, Sumi? You're a good dog. So thanks for the super chat. Somebody gave me a $20 super chat to start this out. Little round box, but in here, this one right here. Thanks. I really appreciate it. I have to get a job. I really, really need to. So, and I have I had these issues recently, which I thought, anyway, I need to do that. But thank you. Your support goes a long way. I got issues. So thank you for that. Thanks, Little Round Box. Appreciate you. Hey, Al Shizzle. Hey, RD. Hey, thanks, Skillless Grow. Yeah, I got my hair cut. Been riding my bike. Can't ride my bike in the rain. Censored Mom says, this is your job. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite meet the definition, really. But yeah, this is what I've been doing. But my dad told me a long time ago that it was only going to be a hobby. So that's where we've gotten to. So thanks, Censored Mom. That's nice of you to say. But no, I have to get out there, and it's just I'm not able to because of issues I had this last summer. Cause it's a problem when people look at my background now. So, but I really need to do that. I think I can find something. So, hey Harry, what's up? Good to see you. Somebody made a video about me today, but I'm gonna mostly ignore it. It's not too important. But somebody made a video. David Schurter, as a matter of fact. So, hey, David Schurter, thanks for thinking about me. I'm doing okay. I had to deal with problems that were brought on by myself, I think. So this is what Lex says. I'll show it to you now. And then I have the rest of the show. Bill Gates. Sorry, it's a ridiculous way to start. Bill Gates is at Davos, and he is talking about new vaccines. The title. I was afraid the YouTube censors would immediately strike it, but hopefully we'll be okay. I'll show you. He really is talking about vaccines. Thanks. Oh, Orwell. Thanks, man. Jeez. I appreciate that. $20 super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'll show you what Lex says. Thanks, Orwell, today. You're a nice guy. I'll show you what Lex says. Let's see here. Lex says, I've been feeling a lot of heaviness in my heart. This is a guy with a very successful podcast. I've been feeling a lot of heaviness in my heart. Friends have asked me to explain why exactly. And when I do, I always seem to fall short. For me, it's seeing hate, cruelty, and death in the wars in Ukraine and Middle East. It's being attacked online more and more. Being attacked online hurts people. It's constantly falling short from being the kind of man I want to be. It's a frequent reminder that life ends too quickly. I know that a lot of people are struggling too and are also not always able to find the words that fully capture why. I just want to say we're in it together. I love you all. That's what Lex says. Lex Friedman. So I love you all. And I realize that this is the condition. This is the human condition. So I'm not alone. We are not alone in this universe. So let me play my intro and then we'll get to it. I hope that stay with me. We're going to give you some goddamn news. And I'll take questions from the chat. We can even make it an AMA for all I care. I don't have enough material to go an hour, I don't think. But
okay, cue musical intro. Boy, that's brilliant.
I do think some things in the world are real. Like you guys. You guys are real. Most of you. Most of my listeners, I think, are not just in my head. I think I have the metrics to prove it. You've taken a leap of faith today. What is that sound? And I apologize if you take offense. I'm a little offended myself. Welcome to our show. Welcome to the future.
What it is. Joining you live from sunny California. It's a beautiful day today. I'm your host, Nathan Stoltman. And I bring you the news, the real news.
Yes. And someone in the chat says all pipe bomb news all day. There is a video that came out showing Sumi. Calm down. Otherwise, I have to lock you outside of the room. I know it's exciting, but apparently there is video that shows something, but it's 7 minutes long and there's no sound. And I do a podcast too, so it's hard to describe. It claims that there's a man in a backpack tells them about a pipe bomb, and then they seem to ignore it. So you'll have to take a look into that. It seems I haven't figured it out from the video. So maybe you could tell me, Dan Whiffen. You said all pipe bomb news all day. Let me play you this. This is a Boeing 747 on fire going through the sky.
Oh my God, it's on fire. Oh my God.
So Boeing is having problems.
It's on fire. Mom. Holy shit. I hope they're okay. I wonder if they're doing an emergency. Oh. No, it's still doing it. It's still doing it.
So there's Boeing on fire.
Oh my God, it's on fire.
So that's British Airlines, allegedly. So yeah, Boeing went into the business of diversity because, and then United has another story. United Airlines came out with their diversity policy where they don't want to hire white people or white men. That is, you have to do 50% minority or female. So what's up, Pirate? Happy Friday from Houston. Are you living in Houston now? You used to be in Washington, D.C. Oh, did I dox you? Well, you're the one who just doxed yourself. The head of United, the CEO of United, has been outed as being someone who dresses in drag himself for fun. This is him, allegedly. And then there's more video that came out of that person here. The CEO of United is a drag queen. I'll show you. Here's video of it. I guess that's him. I can't verify. Hey, what can you say? People are having a good time. So yeah, we don't like people to discriminate against white people. You're not allowed to discriminate based on race. And many companies are doing that anyway, and their documents have come out. So I have some race stories before I play you the clip of Bill Gates talking about how excited he is about new shots. Oh, actually, they're not even going to be shots anymore. They're going to do it as patches, and they're going to be better. Pirate X Pirate says all powerful men have to dress and drag at least once. Yeah, I wore a skirt when I was insane. And it was nice. I enjoyed it. A long skirt though, very modest. Yeah, it was like, you know, like they wore, like, I can see why they like guys like wearing kilts. It's just different feeling. What do you think of that? No, I did. I took a picture of it too. It exists. People can show it. Yeah, I just thought I'd see what it was like. But I haven't ever put on it. It used to be like back in the day, if your husband was secretly cross-dressing, that was bad. That's one thing they called it cross-dressing. And if your husband was trying on your underwear or your clothes, then that was a bad thing. You would catch him. Censored Mom says kilts are not drag. That's true. I didn't dress entirely as a woman. I didn't put on high heels or anything, although I don't even think I could find them in my size. So here is, Pirate X Pirate said all powerful men need to dress in drag. So here's some of the things that's going on with racism. I have this tab. This is the new coach of the New England Patriots who's black, saying that he does see color because he has to.
I do see color because I believe if you don't see color, you can't see racism. And whatever happens, black, white, disabled person, I've always, even someone with disabilities, I always, for the most part, people are like, when they're young, they kind of make the spot hot. Younger people know what that means. But what I would say is, like, no, I want you to be able to go up to those people and really understand those people. So it goes back to whatever it is, black, white, yellow, it really doesn't matter, but it does matter so we can try to fix a problem that we all know we have.
There you go.
I do see.
So he says he does see color, and being colorblind is wrong. Well, I will admit that racism still exists, but it goes all kinds of different ways. For example, this is a clip from the guy who was in Silicon Valley, he was the Pakistani or Indian computer programmer in that show Silicon Valley, which I watched the whole thing. Hollywood now won't hire it. It results in different kind of things. Like now you have to see white people as the enemy and everything. I was even watching the latest Leonardo DiCaprio movie, and it was like clear they were really, it was really anti-white in a lot of ways. Like the white people were portrayed as lazy and thieves and criminals and killers in that movie. So it does pervade the popular culture. Here's him saying, let's see.
I feel like when we see racism in sort of American pop culture, we usually only see it from white people. Unfortunately, that's not true. I've experienced racism from people of all races.
There you go. So you can have racism from people of all races. There you go. So yeah, racism is real, but it's definitely not white people. And white people didn't invent slavery, let's say. Slavery was something that everybody practiced, all different colors and races and religious persuasions practiced some kind of slavery. So it's just not true. Here's Jerry Seinfeld, who got asked if he cast too many white guys.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males of 22 episodes.
Yeah, let's get into that.
No, but you
take a look over here, Peter. What do you see? A lot of whiteys. What's going on here? Oh, this really pisses me off. But go ahead. It really pisses me off. People think it's the census or something. I mean, this has got to represent the actual pie chart of America. Who cares? It's just funny. You know, funny is the world that I live in. You're funny, I'm interested. You're not funny, I'm not interested. Okay. And I have no interest in gender or race or anything like that. But everyone else is kind of with their little calculating, is this the exact right mix? You know, I think that's To me, it's anti-comedy.
I have noticed that most of the guests are mostly white males.
So there, he shut that down. There was some footage from this UFC fighter, which is a little bit more spicy. So I didn't play it for you just because I don't know. I mean, it might be too spicy for YouTube, as a matter of fact. But it was on Twitter. They're saying, talking about how the truckers were denied their money and everything like that. So here we go. I have Bill Gates saying that there are going to be new vaccines, which he's very excited about.
We will have new vaccines. We'll have a TB vaccine, malaria vaccine, HIV vaccine, and even the things like COVID vaccines. We need to make them have longer duration, more coverage, and we're going to change, instead of using a needle, to use a little patch. So the pandemic really highlighted that we've been underinvested in those innovations.
Okay, so there you go. We are underinvested in vaccines and new technology. So we are going to have more. Just wait till they come out with an HIV vaccination. So I don't know if that's possible to vaccinate for. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I know that the government, that you should follow the guidance of the CDC and your physician. As far as YouTube is concerned, I think all vaccines are safe and effective as far as YouTube is concerned. So I don't want to say anything different than that. Here's somebody else at the WEF telling them about Trump and how they talk to people like idiots. They're trying to rebuild trust. That's supposedly what they're doing. Oh, and I have a New York Times. Oh, yes. I have this. They're trying to rebuild trust because they no longer have monopoly on information. So here is the Wall Street Journal editor-in-chief saying that, admitting that the mainstream media used to own the facts, but now people can look anywhere they want. And if you want to support the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/lifttheveil. I appreciate it. Or go check out our shirts at truthclothing.io. Or JJ, I saw JJ here. You can talk to JJ, talk about his CBD products and maybe more. I'm not even sure.
I think there's a very specific challenge for the legacy brands like the New York Times and like the Wall Street Journal. I mean, interestingly, when there's a big news event, a big world event, people still come to the legacy brands. We still have a lot of trust. But I think you only have to go back. I think we have to maintain that trust, and we have to work at maintaining it in a way that we didn't have to do not so long ago. So if you go back really not that long ago, as I say, we owned the news. We were the gatekeepers, and we very much owned the facts as well. If it said it in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, then that was a fact. Nowadays, people can go to all sorts of different sources for the news, and they're much more questioning about what we're saying. So it's no longer good enough for us just to say, this is what happened, or this is the news. We have to explain our working. So readers expect to understand how we source stories. They want to know how we go about getting stories. We have to sort of lift the bonnet, as it were, and in a way that newspapers, aren't used to doing, and explain to people what we're doing. We need to be much more transparent about how we go about collecting the news. There you go. So that's a good thing. We are changing the news because people would come to sources like this one or other big sources that are available separate from the mainstream media, like, Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand and Tucker Carlson, for that matter. So that's some stuff they're talking about. Did they lose your trust? It seems like they realize that people don't trust them anymore, these elites. So a few people went to Davos to tell Davos what's up. This is one of them. The Heritage president talking about how they talk about Donald Trump.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would, describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. It's equally,
standing up for it.
It's equally laughable to use the word dictatorship at Davos and aim that at President Trump. In fact, I think that's absurd. But I'm a step aside from that constructive criticism and instead answer your question. And I'm going to be substantive here. President Trump, if he's the next president, for that matter, I think whoever the next conservative president is going to take on the power of the elites, which I mentioned earlier. But the thing that I want to drive home here, the very reason that I'm here at Davos, is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that you're part of the problem. Political elites tell the average people on 3 or 4 or 5 issues that the reality is X, when in fact reality is Y. Take immigration. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. They're right. President Trump will take that on behalf of the average American. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. President Trump will take that on. Thirdly, I guess the favorite at the World Economic Forum is climate change. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change, so much so that climate alarmism is probably the greatest cause for mental health crisis in the world. The solutions, the average person know, based on climate change are far worse and more harmful and cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. Fourth, 2 more here, Robin. The fourth, China. The number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. Count on President Trump ending that nonsense. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. And it's connected to Senator Portman's excellent point that in addition to needing a vigorous executive, we look forward to having the popular will inform both the House and Senate in 2025 to pass laws on all of those issues and many others. Ultimately, Robin, I think President Trump, if in fact he wins a second term, is going to be inspired by the wise words of Javier Milei, who said that he was in power not to guide sheep, but to awaken lions. That's what the average American and the average free person on planet Earth wants out of leaders.
There you go. So yeah, that he kind of took a torch to him, I think. And yeah, people are going to make a good case for Donald Trump. He still has to run against Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is closer in the polls than he'd like. She's having to defend herself. Trump just got endorsed by Tim Scott, who's from South Carolina, who Nikki Haley appointed to his position. So, you know, that's a little bit of a headwind against Nikki Haley. So I think I have, let me see. I have Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. So they said that Donald Trump Jr. made a few hints about vice president. So let me see if I can. Apparently, he said, Donald Trump Jr. said either Tucker or Vivek, maybe, could be vice presidential pick, even though there was just a news article, which I read to you guys the other day, which said that Elise Stefanik is leading the race, and it's mostly women leading the race. But let's see, Donald Trump, Tucker, let's see. Oh, there's Donald Trump Jr. says his father may. Yeah, so that's news today. Reported by Zero Hedge. Donald Trump Jr. says his father may tap Tucker Carlson as running mate. think he may have I saw another headline where I think it said it might be Vivek. So let me check this news article. Everybody doing good? Yeah, Trump really likes Vivek. They had a hug the other day. Good chance. Yeah, that's what he said. He also suggested several other names. There you go. That's what I was looking for. So it wasn't just that he said it could be Tucker. He also mentioned Ben Carson and even Ron DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis is still in the race, but he's not polling well in New Hampshire, and he's not going to do well in South Carolina either. So we expect Ron DeSantis to drop out of the race soon. Let me see what the odds are on vice president. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, there it is. Vivek Ramaswamy is up there at 15 cents. Tim Scott is another one. Robert Kennedy Jr. is another one. Tucker Carlson and Ron DeSantis are long shots. Tucker Carlson isn't even, you can't even bet on Tucker Carlson. So, don't know. These are all the people who are listed on predicted.org as being possible vice presidential candidates. Even Mike Pence is on there. But Elise Stefanik is leading the way. All right, let's see what else I have for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. Here is, Robert Kennedy Jr. talking about what he thinks of talking about climate change. This is how he's going to approach it. He has been someone who has said that climate change is real and that we have to do something about it and maybe even track our carbon footprint.
Everybody wants to protect the environment. Now, if you want to start a fist fight, talk about climate change and only climate change. But if you want to talk, if you want people to come together, talk about the issues that I was talking about pollution and about quality of life and about toxicity in our kids, the destruction of sacred places, the destruction of our wetlands, our rivers, our shorelines, our waterways. And when I was fighting in Flint, Michigan, to clean up their water supply, we had Hell's Angels standing shoulder to shoulder with urban blacks because nobody wants toxicity in their water. And you don't have to believe a line on the graph. By the way, I believe climate is existential, but I know a lot of people don't believe that, and I'm okay with that. I'm not going to force you to believe something that you don't want to. And a lot of people saw during COVID how international crises are used by powerful elites to clamp down controls and shift wealth upward. And they...
Yeah, that's true.
When we did Standing Rock, we had the same thing. There were people from every walk of life. There were Republicans there and Democrats and business people and workers and labor. And because we didn't sell it as a climate issue, we talked about the importance of a sacred site, of an incomparable place, and the water supply for indigenous people, and there was a wave of support for it. Well, these are things that we share in common, and everybody wants to end the corrupt merger of state and corporate power. Everybody. Nobody wants the regulatory agencies acting as sock puppets for the industries they're supposed to regulate. And predatory against the American public. We want them working for us and protecting, the things that need to be protected. Oh, all of these issues.
There you go. That's good enough. Somebody said in the chat, no matter what about RFK, that's hard to listen to him for too long. Yeah, it's true. It's his voice, though. I try to, and we're inclusive. So it's okay to have someone with a vocal condition be president. Who knows? I might vote for him. Joe Biden is starting to go downhill, and people are noticing, besides the fact that he would lose even if he doesn't get any worse. People say he seems to be getting worse. Andrew Yang tweeted this out today and said, hearing that people who have seen Joe Biden recently are shocked at how different, aged, and diminished he seems. So some shill comes in and says he just saw him. That's not the case at all, of course. Some shill is out defending Biden, but Andrew Yang said that Joe Biden is looking worse. And having seen my own father and stuff, like who's getting older and things, it's true that things can happen in a hurry. And people really didn't think that Joe Biden would make it 6 months into the administration back during the original debates. But we're really going to have to see how Joe Biden's able to perform and whether he will be able to make it. I mean, he really might not, He really might not make it all the way to the election. So, and then what are they going to do? Who are they going to throw in? Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, or somebody else, or Michelle Obama, right? So I wonder what the betting odds. Well, so it might not be Biden when the time comes. Here is Charlemagne the God says that he and his listeners are fed up with Joe Biden on immigration issues. I do think that's something. So here he is. It's a long clip, I guess, but I'll play it. It's him saying that what I just said. So I'll play it.
I have the privilege, man, of doing morning radio and speaking to working class people every single day. I have the privilege of being involved in my community from New York to New Jersey to South Carolina, where I get to look people in the eyes and have real conversations with them, and people are really concerned about this issue. Like I honestly have never spoken to as many people who are concerned about the migrant issue as I have, over the past year. And I mean, I've heard everything from, the gang MS-13, overrunning neighborhoods. I've heard, what we saw just happened in New York City, where the migrants, they took 2,000 migrants and put them in the school and made the school stay home, made the students stay home and do school via Zoom. And that was a big issue. Like, I mean, people were calling the radio station, that was just this week, really, really, really complaining about that. So I've never seen, working class people who I interact with every day until this past year really, really, really express their frustration for the migrants. And it's not even just the people. Like, you see politicians who once, championed having the migrants in the city, like the mayor Eric Adams of New York. Now they're like, yo, hold up. This is too much. We've heard Vice President Kamala Harris say, hey, don't come. Like, we've seen that. So yeah, I think it's going to be a real big issue. And, immigration, something like immigration will never be resolved because of the filibuster. Like, the only things that pass are issues where they remove the filibuster. So you would need Republicans and Democrats to come together and create some comprehensive immigration reform. But, for whatever reason, they don't seem to be able to do that. Of course, he's the president of the United States of America. If he can take credit for the good things that happen in this country, he has to take credit for the bad as well, because those things happen on his watch, And I'm telling you, people are going to go to those sound bites, and they're going to go to those sound bites where they saw, the President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and Mayor Eric Adams and all of these other, liberals and Democrats. They're going to go to those sound bites of them welcoming them into sanctuary cities. And I mean, when Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott pulled that stunt where they were, shipping migrants to these sanctuary cities, dropping them off, right in front of, the vice president's house, as cruel as that was, as inhumane as that was, it was effective. Clearly it was effective, because it made a lot of those Democrats start singing a different tune. And I mean, the voters see that, And so what does that look like to the voter? Just on the surface, it looks like Republicans were right about the issue and Democrats got it wrong. And now a lot of Democrats are starting to sound like the Republicans sounded. So it makes a lot of people say, well, damn, Republicans were actually right on that issue. Just on the surface, just plain on the surface, that's how it looks, to the average voter.
There you go. So he's got 100 people. All right. Here comes Sumi. When I ring the bell, she goes crazy. Yeah. Oh, you're caught on my wire. All right. We're okay. Yeah. He says people realize, yeah, well, when you have one group marginalized or, I think Black people care about immigration is all. So Nikki Haley, let me see what else I have for you guys. I think we're almost done, unless you just want to hang out and listen to Javier Milei's speech at the WEF, but it's 23 minutes long. I could play it and see if anybody wants. Let me just think about what I want to do next. I have Tucker going off about Nikki Haley. I'll play that for you.
No, you'd be cool with Nikki Haley on there, right?
Nikki Haley running with Trump?
Oh, that was a joke.
That's so grotesque that I've got to think people who support Trump currently would come out against Trump vehemently.
What someone said to me recently?
Do you think that's real?
I think there's a push for it. I think the push
from
for it is
whom?
real. From her people. You know what someone said to me though? Very, very recently. We said on the show. They said it was Richard Barris. He does People's Pundit, and he said, full credit. He said they will install her. They will try to install her as VP, so they can take out Trump.
Of course. I was about to say there's no one more sinister than Nikki Haley, but that's giving her credit for existing, which I don't think she actually does. But I think Nikki Haley is a hologram. She's not. Nikki Haley is just a physical representation of the lust for power of the oligarch class. It's just like if Ken Griffin, had a sock puppet, it would be Nikki Haley. It's like the most. Why is Nikki Haley even in the race? Her views bear no resemblance to the views of Republican primary voters. None. She was totally for the BLM riot. She's totally for the tranny insanity. And she's for declaring war on half the world. I honestly think if you said to Nikki Haley, she's whatever, I've got her positions now. But if you said to Nikki Haley, look, I have a lot of money, like for real. Got $100 billion, and I'll give you a third of it to come out and attack Israel. There's no question that she would. This is a person.
She would just turn around, just
100%.
On a dime like that.
I've really thought about it. And I think that Benjamin Netanyahu is the, greatest threat to world peace. And I think, honestly, we should take their nuclear weapons away. Maybe we invade Israel because they're a threat to national security. I think she'd be saying stuff like that if you paid her enough.
There you go. That was pretty good. She's just a hologram. She's virtual, like some of us are. We are virtually here. All right. I think that's what I have for you guys. I have Javier Milei's speech. People say it's great. I was listening to it this morning. It sounds like a lot of people have listened to it already. So I think I can see if anybody has any questions in the chat, but I think I'll wrap it up here. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Good to see you. Thanks for the support. I got coffees from Al Shizzle. Thank you, Al Shizzle, who says, nice haircut. You need to listen to and cover Sabrina Wallace. She is exposing the exploitation of wireless body area networks and the IEEE 802.15.6 spectrum. Thanks, Al Shizzle. I appreciate it. All right. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the super chats. Appreciate you guys. I'll be back Monday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time with the same show. All right. So once again, thanks everybody for showing up. Do you want me to open the phone? I said, I already tell people to tune out. I'll open up the phone just in case anybody wants to call. And I can play Javier Milei's speech. We can chill out. So make it a little longer. People, I trick people. I'm like, tune out. Now I can play Javier Milei's speech a little bit at Davos. And people can call in if they want. Otherwise, we can just listen to the speech, which was generated by AI. I mean, it's
Good
in his
afternoon.
voice in
Thank
English.
you very much. Today, I am present to inform you that the Western world is facing a significant threat.
What's cool about
It
this
is in danger because
is this is made with AI to make him look like he's speaking English. It's pretty impressive use of technology. Rendered using Hey Gen, it actually makes him look like he's speaking English.
because those who are supposed to defend the values of the Western world are co-opted by a worldview that inevitably leads to socialism and consequently to poverty and economic deprivation. Unfortunately, in recent decades, motivated by some well-intentioned desires to help others and others by the desire to belong to a privileged caste, the main leaders of the Western world have abandoned the model of freedom for different versions of what we call collectivism. We are here to tell you that collectivist experiments are never the solution to the problems that afflict the citizens of the world, but rather they are their cause. Trust me, there is no one better than us Argentines to provide testimony on these two issues. When we embraced freedom in 1860, in 35 years, we became the world's first dominant power. 35 years, we became the first world power. While when we embraced collectivism, over the past 100 years, we saw how our citizens began to systematically impoverish themselves until they fell to the 140th position in the world. 40 in the world. But before we can have this discussion, it would be important for us to first look at the data that supports why free market capitalism is not only a possible system to end world poverty, but also the only morally desirable system to achieve it. If we consider the history of economic progress, we can see how from year zero until around 1800, the world's per capita GDP remained practically constant throughout the reference period. If one looks at a chart of the evolution of economic growth throughout human history.
I gave people a chance to call in. I know I'm playing the speech, but it's a 23-minute speech. I'm not going to fill up my show with it, I don't think. Thanks. I thought I'd see if anybody wanted to call in, which is fine that nobody did today. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up, okay? Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. And we'll see you at the next one, all right? For now, that's what it is.